into final practice for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and then back again later this afternoon for the final practice. And by the way, the times on that, we're going to do this particular practice will begin at 1:30, so a matter of a couple of minutes. Then they'll put the green out at about 1:35, and that will go until 2:25. And then we're going to take a bit of a break and come right back with more of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice. So a lot to get to, a lot going on, and I'll tell you what, there's no place like this place. Central Alabama, home to the Talladega Superspeedway, where it is all about speed, and we'll talk more about that. A lot to get to. Don't go anywhere. More in a moment from Talladega Superspeedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
What's up? Vaughn Gittin Jr. here. How would you like the keys to a 700 horsepower custom-built Ford Mustang RTR designed by none other than NASCAR champ Joey Logano, the RTR design team, and me? It's one of 3 Mustangs you could win in the Money Lion Here We Roar sweepstakes. How do you enter? Just text ROAR to 95615 or visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
No purchase necessary. Instant 2019. Must be 18 or older. For official sweepstake rules, visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
Hey guys, it's Dylan Welch. He's Tyler Burnett. We're the co-hosts of the Rip the Fence podcast. If you like traditional non-wing dirt track racing, we've got the podcast for you.
Christopher Bell.
I've flipped people off before, and every time I've stuck my hand out the side of the car with my finger up, I've DNF'd.
We literally crack open the mics and talk to some of the biggest stories in open wheel racing from past and present.
Ryan Newman is in.
He either chose to fight or not fight. He never chose to fight with me.
It's the Rip the Fence podcast, available on MRN.com and your favorite podcast app.
This is NASCAR Xfinity Series Practice from Talladega Superspeedway.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. It is Xfinity, then it's Cup, then it's Xfinity, then it's Cup. Yeah, Motor Racing Network's got you covered all afternoon long. Also NASCAR.com, MRN.com. Just hang with us. We've got it all for you. Up next, the Xfinity Series. Before we get to that and the green flag, we want to bring in the president of the Talladega Superspeedway, Mr. Grant Lynch. And Grant, as we look around, we see everything we love here. But man, oh man, some of this stuff's about to change for the good. You can explain why. What's going on?
Well, transformation is going to go on. The Talladega Garage Experience is going to be put in. Everything you see down here below us, from the old scoring stand all the way up towards turn 4 to the media center, even that little shed off the media center, will be gone. The big boards will stay. This will all disappear all the way down to the new finish line RVs. Look at that new thing we just built there. And look at all the people that are already in that for this weekend. But the real work for the transformation Talladega Garage Experience will have to start after this. But first we got to tear everything we can see all the way to the media center down, except for the big board there, structure. And then everything from there almost back to where you see all the haulers back there. All of this will be replaced and redone before the fall's race.
And, of course, Grant Lynch is pointing to the massive infield here at Talladega Superspeedway. When does the first shovel go in the ground?
Well, we're going to have to get everybody out of here, clean it up, and then we start the demo, and we just start, and we're going to just raise it all the way as fast as we possibly can. We'll be doing it within 5 days. We'll be on it.
By the way, that was Mike Bagley. We didn't even say hello to Mike. Hi, Mike. Mike, Grant, Jeff, topside, downstairs, Steve, and Woody. We'll get to them. Actually, Dylan and Kim. We'll get to them here in a moment. I think Steve is still hanging out down there as well. Talking about, you used the word transformation. And, you know, the thing that I find interesting, that we see a lot of these tracks going through transformation. And, Grant, everything is always about the NASCAR fan. Same thing here at Talladega.
Yeah, that's what we're building it for, is the fan that wants to come here. And certainly with the Garage Experience Zone, you can upgrade your ticket. You can come into the Garage Zone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or all 3 days, a 3-day package for in there. And we're going to build 4 big garages in there, 11-bay garages. 2 of those garages will be on both sides of the big open-air club we're going to build.
Wow.
And guess who's going to be housed in those every time they get here? The top 22 teams in the sport will be in those 2 garages. Our garage, our big building, will go over their garages. We're going to put the people in the locker room of the sport. You're going to be between the top 22 teams in the sport every time they come to Talladega. And we've got the square footage to build this massive stuff, because I think some people may have seen the thing we just put out. All 14 SEC stadiums can fit inside Talladega.
I saw that graphic
so
the other day.
It's huge. And so we can do some stuff because of the amount of land we have that other people just can't do.
You know, Grant, I'm curious. We saw what happened at Daytona when they built the stadium. We've seen what happened at ISM Raceway, at Richmond Raceway, Talladega Superspeedway, obviously enhancing the fan experience. Why this type of experience? What feedback have you gotten from fans that have directed you to say, this is what we need to do? We need to have these cars. We need to have the fans inside of there. It's all about the fan experience, but what led you to that? What feedback did you get, or what was the mindset of, this is the way we need to go and this is how we need to do it?
Yeah. Well, what we're doing is they want to see the drivers. They want to see the drivers in what they do. So we're going to let them look into the locker room. They can't go past the fence. You know, the car and everybody will be on the other side of the fence, but you're going to be able to walk right up to the fence, like it has with some Richmond and the other places we've done. Only this is just going to be so much bigger because we have a bigger space to use. I also heard you boys may be coming over to help us out tonight at one of the things that kicks off the week, the big one on the boulevard, which
Allegedly.
is our first big party of the weekend.
Well, by the way, John Hunter Nemechek has pulled on to the racetrack. NASCAR Xfinity Series practice underway. We continue with Grant Lynch of Talladega Superspeedway. Yeah, there is, I guess you boys are getting ready to fire the jitney up tonight. And what is this, a pedal bar thing? I saw pictures of it, and Moody's the one that's been spearheading this whole thing, so he's the goat roper on this whole deal, and maybe he's the captain of that whole deal. I don't know. I'm going to stand back and watch. I'm the designated driver, so I'm going to spectate, not participate, and make sure everybody minds their P's and Q's here.
Are you going to get on and pedal?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Of course I am.
Okay, that's good.
You know
I'm
what?
not pedaling either.
Here's the deal. Every Saturday morning, I get the opportunity to run into you, and the first thing you say, you walk up to me and you go, you are not going to believe what you missed last night.
Tonight, you're going to see it.
I'm not going to miss a thing.
No, he's going to be a part of the story tomorrow morning. That's what he's going to be.
That's good.
There you go.
That's good.
Not going to miss it.
Well, it's a great way to get the weekend kicked off, and of course, Granger Smith plays on Saturday night. Folks, to see Granger, buy a Sunday race ticket. You're in the Talladega infield. You're at the party Saturday night. All you got to do is buy a Sunday race ticket.
Now, it's been well documented that you're winding your tenure down here at Talladega. The good folks at Geico have made you the Grand Marshal, obviously, Sunday for the Geico 500. You've done a lot here at Talladega, and I know that the local community embraces you. You embrace the locals as well as everybody else who pulls onto the property. You ready to hang this up? What are you waiting for, or what's waiting for you after you hang up the old lanyard there for the final time?
Well, I can finally help Marcia with some of the yard work, as well as get to know my girls better, because, as you know, I traveled so much for this company and then on RJ Reynolds prior to that. So I'm looking forward and trying to find out if Marcia and I can live with each other, because we haven't in a very long time.
Before we let you go, for those that are listening to this, by the way, folks, the weather is beautiful. Temperature is 75 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. It's going to be the same way tomorrow and Sunday. How can folks get tickets and come be a part of the fun?
Go to TalladagaSuperspeedway.com and then call us at 877-GO-TO-DIGA, D-E-G-A, and the number 2 on your phone.
Appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I love MRN. You boys know that.
Thank you.
Love my boy Barney Hall right behind me here, too.
That's right. Behind us in the booth is a mural, basically, for Barney Hall, or mural, I guess you could say, honoring our longtime voice here at the network who passed away in 2016. That's Grant Hill, or Grant Lynch, that is, of Talladega Superspeedway. Before we get deep into Xfinity practice, let's wrap up some from Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice that just took place. Kurt Busch was the fastest driver, and he's with our Steve Post.
Yes, the fastest driver in Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice was Kurt Busch. Kurt, what did you learn? What was that practice like? What did you learn out there?
Everything's just happening quicker and more aggressive. Like as far as catching somebody, the draft is like, whoa, I got a huge run. And then when you duck out to go with that speed, you then hit this brick wall of air, and it slows you down that much faster. So it's just like everything's happening more aggressively. So the car's handling, like I'm like, oh man, I'm way loose. Wait a minute, no, I'm way tight. So everything was just kind of zigging and zagging right now, and some of it's just being away for an off week, but honestly, the package is that different, and I think you're going to hear a lot of guys are going, man, it's just more aggressive everywhere.
More aggressive. Okay, you guys deal with seconds, okay? We deal with miles per hour. 202 miles per hour is what it equated to. Do you feel the speed? Do you feel the speed difference from where we were at before, or was that at least similar to what we've had in the past?
The speed, I would say, is almost the same, but what you feel is there's a tailwind down the front straightaway, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm motoring now. And then you go down the back straightaway, and you have that big parachute. The big rear spoiler is slowing you down. So you literally feel headwind and tailwind more violently now.
Well, we wish you the best throughout the weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There we go. That is Kurt Busch. He was the fastest driver. Monster energy on the black Camaro. The car always looks good. And well, I'll tell you what, it was hauling the mail as he described, especially down the front stretch with that tailwind here in that first practice session.
Posty, I'm curious, when we looked at the timing sheet, it had the speed that Kurt turned in at 202 plus. I know that going into the practice session, a lot of the teams were concerned about the high speeds and perhaps maybe NASCAR could make an adjustment. What has been the feedback from those in the garage about the speeds that were turned in and how fast these cars were?
Mike, I don't know any response as far as that goes, but I will tell you this. Scott Miller, who is the competition director for NASCAR, he actually pulled me aside before I talked to Kurt and said, what are you hearing in talking with the drivers? As I was, as he was there, he had just got done talking with Kurt, and he kind of shared with me a lot of the same things that Kurt said. John Fabian, the series director, he has gone from driver to driver to driver and some crew chiefs to talk. So I don't know if there's been no decisions or no adjustments, but there is certainly a lot of conversations and a lot of conversations with members of the competition department here from NASCAR as they look at these speeds of these race cars. So yeah, it's a good insight, Mike, because they are Scott Miller and Jay Fabian. They're all over this down here talking to people. In fact, I see Elton Sawyer now talking to some folks as well. So lots of conversations going on as well.
Appreciate the insight, Posty. We appreciate that. We will transition now. And by the way, to keep tabs on what we're speaking of as far as anything that could happen or not happen to the race cars, MRN.com is your destination, as is NASCAR.com, to keep up with all the updates coming your way through the Geico 500 race weekend. When we come back, we will transition over into Moneyline 300 practice coverage. NASCAR Xfinity teams on the track right now for their practice session before they will qualify and ultimately race tomorrow afternoon here in Talladega. From Talladega Superspeedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hey guys, Corley Joy. Join me and my friends Lauren Fox and Daryl Mott on the Sunday Money Podcast as we talk racing.
What happened in California?
Yeah, they all sat in a pit road waiting for one guy to be the sacrificial lamb, and nobody wanted to do it. And just life.
Did you fall in love on TV?
No, definitely not. I could not.
Plus, you never know who might stop by. Young Ryan Blaney's here with something he's saying.
I brought you our script because you guys are like our show, so.
It's Sunday Money on MRN.com, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever else you listen to podcasts.
Veteran drivers and rookie drivers. NASCAR Today Midday keeps you up to date with all your favorites each weekday.
It's a dream come true. A lot of you know the path that I've gone down.
There's a lot of opportunity with the package changes, with the Chevrolet and the work they're putting in. And I know one thing's for sure, it's good to have my name on the top of the Cup car.
Don't miss any of the breaking NASCAR news with NASCAR Today Midday. Only on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You're listening to NASCAR Xfinity Series Practice from Talladega Superspeedway.
Welcome back to the great state of Alabama. The NASCAR Xfinity Series on track practicing for the Moneyline 300. Mike Bagley here alongside Jeff Striegel. We have Kim Kuhn and Dylan Welch in the NASCAR Xfinity Series garage as one by one the cars slowly come onto the track. Ross Chastain is at the top of the leaderboard right now. John Hunter Nemechek has been out, so has Timmy Hill, Max Tolman, Jeremy Clements, Brandon Brown, Garrett Smithley now has pulled his car onto the racetrack. Let's go to the garage and Dylan.
Well, and guys, as you mentioned, not a lot going on down here. Just a couple cars kind of on the front side of pit road that, or of the garage that did pull out onto the racetrack and make some laps. One of those was John Hunter Nemechek, and we'll step in here and see if we can grab a word. He's debriefing with crew chief Chad Norris and the rest of his GMS racing team, and see if we can step in here. And just made a couple laps. Obviously was out a little bit earlier this morning in first practice, but just made a couple laps there. John Hunter, did everything feel the way you wanted it to feel?
Yeah, other than needing a little bit more speed. hopefully it does good in the draft tomorrow. Just looking at the monitor there, we're about 6/10 off of what another car is able to run. So not terrible, but hopefully our fire alarm services Chevy will be good for tomorrow.
How much stock or importance can you put in your single car speed? I mean, how much once you get into the draft does your single car speed really play a factor?
Well, if the race is anything like Daytona, it's going to matter a lot because it's going to go single file up against the fence. You're not going to be able to pass. So that's what really sucks. Hopefully some guys want to make some moves and be able to run 2 wide tomorrow and actually put on a good show.
What's your guys' plan the rest of this practice?
We're done.
You're done? Okay, thanks, John. John Hunter Nemechek done for this practice session just after a couple laps, and they want a little more speed in their car, so going to try and find that before tomorrow.
Yeah, that's commonplace in these second practices or the final practice session. The crew chief doesn't want the car wadded up and they have to roll out a backup. So a lot of these teams will take a couple of laps to make sure nothing is dragging, scraping, or leaking. Now, as far as speed is concerned, they may make an adjustment or two there, but I'm sure John Hunter Nemechek will find that. He'll get in the draft. I mean, he's coming off a great run a couple of weeks ago at Richmond, cracked the top 10, so he's got a little momentum on his side. He just needs, as he said, a little more speed to get up there and contend for a win, and potentially, knowing how things are unpredictable at Talladega, John Hunter Nemechek may find himself in the throes of going to victory lane tomorrow afternoon.
He compared or made an attempt to compare what he thinks he may see here tomorrow with what we saw at Daytona back in February. Mike, you were right there, watched everything unfold in Daytona. You're going to be here to watch it all unfold here tomorrow afternoon. I don't know that we can compare yet. Do you agree? Daytona, even though we're talking about super speedway racetracks, they are very much very different one from the other in the fact that we see more handling come into play at Daytona, not so much here. Would you expect to see them just immediately climb to the outside of the racetrack and just ride single file? I'm not sure I'm ready to go there quite yet. You? What do you think?
No, I don't think we will. Well, the first thing that's noticeably different about Daytona and Talladega's wider. It's longer, it's bigger. So you have more room to roam.
Right.
Had a chance to catch up with Joey Logano this morning, and he talked about 4 wide at Talladega is totally different than 3 wide or 4 wide at Daytona because the track is much more narrow. You go 4 wide off into the corners here at Talladega, you still have room between the cars, and he said that you're still comfortable because you have that extra width of the racetrack. However, at Daytona, what we saw is a lot of guys climbed the banking, and I think they did that because they were scared to get out of line, because you get out of line and nobody goes with you, you're going to the back of the pack. So I think that was in self-preservation mode, is trying to save your spot on the racetrack. Talladega's a bit of a different story because, again, the track is wider. We see a lot of times drivers will step out of line and then they will go with another driver or a series of drivers. Will we have a stretch potentially tomorrow where guys will get single file for a while? Absolutely. There's no need to burn your car down to the ground. You need to save it for the end. That's, I think, a part of the strategy that we always hear employed when you race at these big racetracks. It's like, listen, we can go out there, we're running wide open, but there's no need to put that car in a precarious position 5 laps in. You'd rather do that and save that with a chance of winning 5 laps from the end.
12:30 tomorrow, live flag-to-flag coverage. The NASCAR Xfinity Series running here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Motor Racing Network will have it covered for you. One driver we're going to be keeping an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on all of them. And we'll talk about that David versus Goliath theme that we set for you an hour ago. And it certainly plays into account when we talk about the Xfinity Series. A bigger team, smaller team, big finance, under finance. Who might go to victory lane here tomorrow? Well, one that certainly showed a lot of speed in practice session number 1. In fact, second quick. Noah Gragson is with Dylan Wells.
He is, and he's in his street clothes here, so not going out for practice session number 2 here. How do you feel about your race car based on what you learned in the first session?
I mean, it feels good. We were second there in the first practice. It's just hard to tell. We just got a big suck up and laid down a big number, but I don't know if you could fully go off of what the timesheet says, just because it's, I don't know, it's distracting in a sense. But we got a fast Armor Vienna Sausage Camaro this weekend, and it's just, there's a lot more risk out there than there is reward. And then I feel like our single car speed's really good. We just need to put ourselves in a good position tomorrow. And the guys are trying to get our Camaro as fast as Xfinity Internet right now, and we'll see tomorrow. That's when the race comes, and just put ourselves in good positions and hopefully be up front at the end and hold them off.
What do you look for in a balance at a track like this where everybody thinks you kind of just go out and hold it wide open and turn the wheel? There has to be a balance, so what do you look for?
I mean, obviously it's wide open around, but I feel like the biggest thing you fight, really more so, I say more so at Daytona, is you fight more handling, and as the track's getting worn out more and more, you fight more handling at Daytona, but here it's just having the car just driving straight like it's darty. Just very small wheel inputs make a big difference here, especially down the straightaway and whatnot. So, man, I feel like the cars are really maxed out when you come to the racetrack, so you pretty much have what you have. And I know that we have a fast Camaro this weekend, and that's all thanks to my guys at Junior Motorsports. And I'm fortunate, I'm honored to be able to be running Miss Brenda Jackson. That's Dale and Kelly's mother. She passed away, so it's been a hard loss for us at Junior Motorsports this weekend, but we worked hard all week getting our Camaro ready to go for this weekend. We got her riding on board with us this weekend. All the Junior Motorsports cars do. So just really fortunate to be out here. We're racing with heavy hearts, and just got to go do the best job we can do and hopefully get in victory lane so we can do it all for Miss Brenda.
It's your first full year in the Xfinity Series, and obviously with Junior Motorsports. How would you evaluate how it's gone up to this point?
It's been hard. It's been really challenging. I mean, we fired off. I did 3 races last year in the Xfinity Series with Gibbs, and we ran really good. We finished second in my first race, came to Talladega for a second one and finished 4th, and we had really 3 strong runs. And then this year, it's a new team. I'm trying to learn the chemistry over at Junior Motorsports. I love the atmosphere over here. I mean, working with my teammates, Michael, Annett, Justin Allgaier, they've been really, really positive to me and expediting that learning curve. But it's been a challenge. We've had some good luck, we've had some bad luck, and some also good runs and bad runs. So just trying to tie the whole weekend together. I know we have a good chance with armor on the car this weekend, so just got to go do the best job we can do, stay out of trouble really here, and then, I don't know, I'd say I'm never fully satisfied, but it hasn't been too bad so far. So we're inching closer and making positive games every weekend and getting closer to the front.
They're going to try and continue those strong runs and momentum this weekend here at Talladega. That's Noah Gregson. Kim?
Thanks, Dylan. Here chatting with Timmy Hill. We were actually just talking about the Boulevard. That's why I was distracted. And Timmy, you're going to head out there later today. Why do you love Talladega?
Talladega is all about the great time. You know, great fans here. Well, NASCAR fans in general are really great, but the atmosphere Talladega provides for all the campers and basically the big party, it's a fun time. So this evening, I know they have the parade where the drivers come out there. I'm just going to be a fan myself and join in and partake in some of the parties, some of the activities out there. So it's really a great time.
One of the few cars that went out in this second practice, what were you guys hoping to learn, and were you able to check that off your list?
Yeah, in first practice, most of the guys took care of all the drafting stuff. So, we went out in first practice, we were 12th on the board, happy with how our car drafted up. We tried the bottom, tried the top. So very happy with how the car's driving. In Daytona, most of the guys got single file. I think this time around the drivers are really trying to try both lanes, make sure we have some double file racing. So we felt good about our car in both lanes. I think everybody else is really trying to feel their cars out. And this time out, we just did a solo car run, trying to get ready for qualifying. So our 66 car is really good. Happy about what we have here. We got some nice engines in it with Toyota, TRD and Gibbs helping out. So this week we got a really good piece, and I'm ready to show it off.
We've been talking this weekend up in the booth and down on the ground about this being a David and Goliath races and a really opportunity for some smaller teams to make some big waves. And you and I were talking before we went on air that you guys put a little bit more resources into your super speedway programs. Does that give you more confidence coming into the weekend? Yeah, it sure does. I mean, our team is extremely confident. We've run well here to speedways before. Last year we had our best finish at Daytona in 7th, and every time we come back, we look to get better than that. So if we can come here, run top 5, maybe have a shot at the win, we will be totally pleased with that. But we strive for these races in particular. This is one on our list that we put our most effort towards. So hopefully all that effort pays off. Very good. That's Timmy Hill. Timmy, thank you. Enjoy the Boulevard tonight. I will do. Thank you. We're going to let Timmy Hill get back to his team. He's wrapped up for the day, but 3 top 10s in the Xfinity Series. They all came at Daytona. He's hoping that performance transfers over to Talladega.
14th, a career best finish here at the Talladega Superspeedway for Timmy Hill, who is right now 4th quick. Ryan Sieg, while Kim was talking with Timmy, came across the line. Ryan Sieg has gone to the top at 187.654 miles an hour. Mike, you're an artist. Paint the picture. Look out the window. Tell everybody what you see because, well, not a lot going on.
But there is beautiful blue skies, cloudless at the moment, a little haze in the distance. Temperature is 75 degrees. A menagerie of motorhomes in the infield, no doubt getting ready and getting geared up for tonight's Dave Moody, Jeff Striegel tag team beer jitney action in the infield.
You don't know that.
Oh, I know you both,
You don't
of course.
know that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who's pedaling, but I know who's going to be bottoms up.
From Talladega Superspeedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
What's up? Vaughn Gittin Jr. here. How would you like the keys to a 700 horsepower custom-built Ford Mustang RTR designed by none other than NASCAR champ Joey Logano, the RTR design team, and me? It's one of 3 Mustangs you could win in the Moneyline Here We Roar sweepstakes. How do you enter? Just text ROAR to 95615 or visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
No purchase necessary. Instant 2019. Must be 18 or older. For official sweepstake rules, visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
Clutch Coffee Bar in Mooresville, North Carolina is redefining the drive-thru coffee game in Race City, USA. The Clutch experience is fast, friendly, and delicious. Quality drinks and unmatched customer service is the name of the game. Clutch Coffee Bar offers signature lattes and mochas, custom flavor-infused energy drinks, smoothies, and more. Over 25 flavors, there's something for everyone. Visit our 2 locations in Mooresville, 356 Williamson Road and 154 West Plaza Drive. Open daily from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Power up today with Clutch Coffee Bar.
You're listening to NASCAR Xfinity Series Practice from Talladega Superspeedway.
Welcome back. Got a couple of cars on the racetrack. Back to Talladega Superspeedway, that is. Glad to have you with us. Mike Bagley is alongside. My name is Jeff Striegel. Down in the garage area, Kim Kuhn and Dylan Welch. Only 10 cars have gone out, this being the final practice. And if you are just joining us, Kim and Dylan have both made comments that only a handful of cars will continue to come out of the garage. Some are done. In fact, most are done. They'll qualify and get ready to go racing here tomorrow. But I guess that's to be expected. We see that at Daytona, Mike Bagley. We see it at Talladega. When the car is right, you're done. I mean, it's not like going to Kansas or Bristol or Martinsville where you're constantly tweaking on it. We're going to run them wide open for the entire race, and when the car feels good, you just button it up, put a tarp over, and go, boys, we're done.
Well, you don't want to put this thing firewall deep. You don't want to have to go to the backup car and all that stuff because all the time and the efforts that's been spent with this car right here. And you can't gain that much more speed right now. What you need to know is how that car is going to run in the draft, which a lot of them did in the first practice. This is the shakedown to make sure everything is okay, make sure nothing is amiss on the race car. You mentioned 10 drivers going out. They are joined now by an 11th in Josh Williams. Garrett Smithley is one of the drivers that's been on the racetrack, and he's with Dylan right now.
And he is, and standing here scanning the radios and keeping track of the leaderboard of the cars that have been out on track. So we were just talking about the benefits and the disadvantages of having a second practice here. Why did you only go out and just run a couple laps?
Well, JD Motorsports, we got 4 cars here, and we really only have 1 backup car, and we know that we don't want to use that backup car. So we make sure that we're not on track at the same time. We make sure not to draft or anything like that. So we take these practices, like Super Speedway practices for us are the easiest days for JD Motorsports because we go out there, run 1 or 2 laps, make sure our splitter's right, make sure we're not hitting anything, make sure it's not wandering, and make sure that we have a car to race. The goal for us is to get to the green flag and then get to the checker flag. So part 1's over. Now we got to get to the checker flag.
How do you and your team view these super speedway races as an opportunity to have a good run, or just more so survival?
No, it is an opportunity. I have a really good track record here. We ran 5th at Daytona in this same car last year. We ran 10th here in this same race. We were on track for another top 10 at the second Daytona, and we got wrecked. So it is survival, but you also want to put yourselves in the right position to be there at the end. We may be a little bit more aggressive this go around. I hope that it's not like the Xfinity race at Daytona this year where we're riding all around. I hate to see that, and I know we were a part of that, but if I had known that's how it was going to go, we would have been a lot more aggressive.
Who do you look to kind of align yourself with? I mean, or do you? Is it just kind of whoever's moving forward you go with, or what's your mentality in that sense?
Yeah, as far as like, it's so circumstantial out there. You just have to work with whoever's out there. There's no cup drivers in the field, so that's a whole different dynamic. As they're trying to smoke me out with the engine over here, but it's a whole different dynamic being Xfinity only. There's the Dash for Cash guys that are out there, so you want to watch those guys, especially at the end. I'm sure they're going to make some aggressive moves that maybe they might not make, earlier in the race. But really, you want to align yourself with a fast car. Somebody, for us, we want somebody that can push us really well. And normally that ends up working out to our advantage at the end.
What makes tomorrow a good day for you guys?
A finish, first of all, and honestly, that's it. I mean, we want to run top 10. We'd love a win. That's the ultimate goal. And at the end, if we're still running, towards the end, we're definitely going to go for that win. So just making sure that we don't have to use any flex tape on our car, and we'll be in good shape.
Garrett Smithley, 9th on the board right now. They're done for the day. Kim?
Ross Chastain, 2nd on the board. I talked to him before this practice started. He said we're going to take 2 runs. You did exactly that. Were you able to accomplish what you guys came out here to do?
I learned more earlier in the first practice by drafting, just trying to make sure that our car drove good, which it does. My teammate Justin Haley's still, I think he's struggling on the loose side, so trying to get his car closer to ours because I can make moves in traffic and be confident. So, that just puts us in a position to be able to be aggressive come tomorrow. Even with this package with the Xfinity Series right now, where it's hard to make moves and make passes, but at least I know my car will be underneath me. That's the biggest thing I look for. It has good speed. Everybody knows Colleague Racing. Matt Colleague brings fast cars to the track, and that's what Nutrient Ag Solutions wants to do. It's what Elliott Sadler put me in this program to do, is lead the field. We did that at Daytona. We want to do it again, but just trying right here to. They were just working on their qualifying stuff. We still have a lot left to gain for tomorrow morning, but just dotting our I's and whatever they say with all the fancy letters. So. It's a great time though. I really feel privileged and blessed to drive this car.
Only the 2nd Super Speedway race with the composite body in this package. What were you able to learn though in Daytona that maybe will transfer to Talladega?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I love the composite body. I wish it was a little cheaper. Coming over from the 4-car with Johnny Davis, I see the nuts and bolts that go into putting these things on, and it's not pretty to go from a metal body to a composite body and not save any money. So that's absurd, I think. That as much as we're spending to put these things on to get through the tech inspection is ridiculous. So hopefully we clean that up in the years to come. It's not going to happen soon, but I hope NASCAR takes a look at that. I know Johnny Davis is beating their door down trying to get them to help us out. But yeah, Super Speedway wise, there's no issues with it. They're thick. The composite mix is plenty thick enough. I mean, we run into each other and side to side, doesn't matter week to week, and here at these tracks, and they hold up. So it's a good product. It just is costing way too much to get through tech.
Definitely tough. We've seen some drivers be able to make some bolder moves, in my opinion, with these composite bodies. You look at what Tyler Reddick did at Homestead, getting up against the wall. You could arguably say he was able to do what he was able to do and stay in that race because of the composite body. On a super speedway, does it allow you to be a little more aggressive or think less about carnage, knowing that it could withstand a little bit more brunt?
Not really. Unfortunately, because when you wreck here, you wreck big. You don't, like Homestead, you scrape the wall. He did goodness gracious, he did an awesome job. But no, here, when you hit big. So with the new crash damage rules, you can't get back out there with the aerodynamics of NASCAR in 2019. You can't keep up missing more than one fender. You might be able to if you're missing one fender, but you're missing your side or something. Used to, you could just keep staying out there and get points and stuff, and now you can't keep up and you can't repair it. So, and you can't bolt any potty panels on. So No, I think that was Tyler did his own deal down there, but here, if you hit, it's going to be big.
Always a big one at Talladega. Ross, for you, you've pieced together a really great schedule for yourself this season despite some adversity. This is your second time in the Kaulig racing car. How's it been working with them, and is it challenging to jump from team to team, week to week?
It's incredibly tough. Really, it's harder Friday, Saturday, Sunday on any given week going from truck to Xfinity to Cup. Trying to remember what drives like what I had in the previous practice, or if I'm rolling out for the first time in a car that weekend. Granted, now the Cup cars drive really identical to the trucks, and the Xfinity cars week to week are the hardest thing to drive. So for me anyway, I'm in a little different ball game on the Cup side, and with everything we do at Premium Motorsports, it's a different ball game. So we know our plan, though. We know our plan coming in each weekend, and we do our deals. So, but no, yeah, coming back and forth from the 4-car to this, I mean, a lot of the guys are friends. We help each other week to week. I mean, the 11 car gave us a set of tires to practice on at Bristol when we had a flat. So it's great camaraderie and good fellowship between both groups. And just trying to grow this program with Nutrien Ag Solutions is the biggest thing.
Ross Chastain, quite possibly one of the hardest working drivers in the garage, like you mentioned, driving the Nutrien Ag Solutions colors for Kaulig Racing this weekend. He had a 13th place finish in Daytona, hoping to improve on that here at Talladega. And some interesting thoughts on the composite body. Definitely you can't get too comfortable here in the composite body like you can at other racetracks, because at Talladega, there's always a big one.
Yeah, there is. There seems to be just that one moment in the race where everybody comes together, not necessarily in a good way. It's been amazing to watch Ross Chastain's stock rise over the last year and a half or so. He mentioned Johnny Davis, normally running that car. Chip Ganassi gave him an opportunity to run the 42 car in this series last year. He did that, ran very well. He had the opportunity to parlay that into a full-time effort this year after winning for Chip at Las Vegas last fall. And, of course, those plans were made. DC Solar was going to be the sponsor. Obviously, they had their challenges in the offseason. Ross was basically sent back to JD Motorsports. Kaulig Racing has stepped up, and he's there. He's also helping Nice Motorsports in the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Ross Chastain, probably the busiest guy in all 3 garages combined. And here he is this weekend in Kaulig Racing's number 10 car, and he's second on the board out of the 13 drivers that have practiced so far for tomorrow's Money Lion 300. From Talladega Superspeedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
What's up? Vaughn Gittin Jr. here. How would you like the keys to a 700 horsepower custom-built Ford Mustang RTR designed by none other than NASCAR champ Joey Logano, the RTR design team, and me? It's one of 3 Mustangs you could win in the Money Lion Here We Roar sweepstakes. How do you enter? Just text ROAR to 95615 or visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
No purchase necessary. Instant 2019. Must be 18 or older. For official sweepstake rules, visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
The battle for the 2019 championship will be filled with twists and turns.
We got to kind of calm down for these speedway races, because you can use the bumper, but you end up taking 10 other people with you.
Each weekday, NASCAR Today brings you the top stories in the sport.
That's a totally different experience for me and Cup.
In the garage, at the track, or behind the scenes, NASCAR Today keeps you up to speed every weekday.
Go for it. What do we got to lose? I don't know. I mean, you might as well try it, right?
This is NASCAR Xfinity Series Practice from Talladega Superspeedway.
We are back, and we are so glad you are with us as well. Motor Racing Network's coverage of NASCAR Xfinity Series Practice for the Money Lion 300 continues. And as we sit here high atop the main straightaway, high atop the start-finish line here at Talladega, we are greeted with the sound of this. It's called silence.
Nothing.
No cars are on the racetrack. As planned, a lot of teams are staying in the garage and preserving that race car for tomorrow. Some teams have gone out and shaken the car down. The driver with the most laps so far is Max Tolman, total of 12 laps. He has completed. Everybody else, 4, 5, 2, a couple have 3. Just go out, shake the car down, get ready to go tomorrow. It goes back to what we've been saying all practice long, Jeff. You don't want to put that car in a position to where you wreck it, and basically you got to hit the reset button and go and start all from scratch.
Yeah.
And plug in the setup and do whatever you've done to the primary and roll that into the backup. You want to keep this car intact because a lot of these teams are using their Daytona cars, and they've got a lot of miles and a lot of experience with those. You don't want to start from scratch, although, it used to be that the backup cars were old show cars and they weren't as good. Well, these race teams are pumping out backup cars that are basically on par with the primaries. They pump out car after car after car. One doesn't get preferential treatment over the other. They just have one in reserve in case something goes awry or askew here at the track.
And right now, those trucks or those cars that you talk about, the backup car being positioned inside those transporters, all locked down. Hopefully they won't need to get them out. There is only 15 minutes, just over now, 15 minutes left here in the final practice. We aren't done, though. When we are wrapping up here, we're going to take a 1-hour break, and then we will come back with final practice for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, and that also right here on the Motor Racing Network. Our airtime for that will be 3:30. Let's talk about a word that I think Kim used a long time ago, and that was opportunity race, Mike. By that, we were covering the Cup Series practice, and we were talking David versus Goliath. And if for those of you that have been with us all day long, you have heard us talk a lot about that. David, the smaller team, maybe the underfinanced team. The Goliath teams are those big teams. And in Cup, we all know who they are. Stewart-Haas Racing, Team Penske, Joe Gibbs Racing, etc. Opportunity race, David versus Goliath. Does that carry over from the Cup Garage into what we may see here tomorrow afternoon with the Xfinity Series on the track?
I don't think it does, and the reason why I feel that way is because I think tomorrow's race is full of Davids. Because, in my opinion, when you talk Xfinity Series racing, the Goliaths are the Cup drivers that come down and race in this series. Tomorrow, there will be no Cup drivers. Kyle Busch will not be in the field, nor will Brad Keselowski, nor will Joey Logano or Ryan Blaney or whomever, whatever Cup guy you want to put in there. So with that being said, this is a showcase race, in my opinion, not necessarily an opportunity race. The showcase race for the drivers to showcase their skills. This is the third one in a row. The last two have been Cup-free because they are Dash for Cash races. So you have Xfinity Series regulars on the track, and it's an opportunity for them to, as I said, not necessarily have an opportunity, but a showcasing event for them. The opportunity is there every single week, in my opinion. It's a showcase race to show everybody what they have, the skill sets. If somebody's looking, maybe you might want to do a little something extra, showcase your ability, showcase your skill, and of course, nothing does that the best than taking a trip to Gatorade Victory Lane.
And when you can do that, you've got the opportunity to put a sponsor on the side of a car. How about this? Let's use this as an example. I don't recall seeing this Nutra Chomps on the side of a car. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't, I don't know. But I can tell you that that is the sponsor on board Chase Briscoe's car. And when you talk about showcase, what would be better than to take that car, that Ford Mustang, with a brand new sponsor on the side of it? And by the way, I bring that up because they brought up some pretty cool stuff for all of us to take home. Those of us that have dogs, NutriChomp is a dog treat, if you will. They brought them up here, and they're on the side of the car and the driver that Kim Kuhn is with right now.
Yes, he's out of his fire suit, though. They obviously didn't take to the track during this practice. Chase, what did you guys accomplish in first practice, knowing that you weren't going to run second?
Hey, we didn't do a ton of runs. We started off practice there in the pack and did about 20 laps. Honestly, I think more than anybody, and just kind of worked on trying to get our car a little bit better, honestly. And came in and did 3 single car runs, and didn't feel like we were awful. Felt like in the pack we were really good when we were out front, but didn't really feel that great about it in the pack. So. We tried some stuff for single car runs, and it's hard to really tell here. So I feel like we have a pretty good NutriChomps Ford, but this place there's so much out of your hand. It's kind of like playing poker a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see what we got tomorrow, but I felt pretty good today.
Most drivers you talk to about super speedway racing say you have to have the perfect balance of patience versus aggression. For you, what ratio of patience do you want versus aggression?
Hey, in the past, I feel like I've always not been aggressive enough, and I'm running 15th at the end of the race, and it just doesn't give you enough time to get up to the front. So today in practice was honestly the most aggressive I felt like I've ever been ever. So I felt pretty comfortable doing it. So I think tomorrow I'll definitely be a little bit more aggressive than times in the past, and even going back to Daytona this year, I felt like I was one of the few guys at the end that was trying to make moves. So I'm curious to see what we race like tomorrow. last year this race got single file around the top, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as Daytona. So if it does, I feel like we're going to be okay. I feel like our car was good enough to make moves, but like I said, you never know until the race actually starts.
You're riding a high right now, top 10s in the last 6 races, career-long streak for you. How close you guys are getting to a win this season, though?
Yeah, I feel like our cars have been really fast. Obviously, Cole's kind of figured it out, and they got a little bit more speed than us, but we've been creeping on. It's just taken, honestly, a couple weeks just to figure out what I like in the car, and honestly, my crew chief's a rookie as well, so just trying to get that balance of what each of us needs. So I feel like as the races go on, we keep getting more and more competitive, and hopefully in the next couple weeks we can go knock one out.
You mentioned teammate Cole Custer. He's got 2 wins so far this season. How different are you guys on the racetrack in terms of the setup you like for the cars? Because it's easy to say, yeah, our teammate has won, so we should have, but for some drivers, they have like completely different setups.
Yeah, me and Cole, our backgrounds are a little bit similar. He's ran a little bit of dirt, not as much as mine, but honestly, we haven't went to the racetrack once like them all year long. So, obviously it's nice that our teammates winning and we can feel like we can plug in, but at the same time, this is the first time SHR's had 2 cars. We're trying to take advantage of that and get as many notes as we can for when the playoffs start. So I'm sure here in the next couple weeks, we're kind of go more towards their direction, but right now we've just been trying to build a notebook and see what we like.
I got to mention your sponsor, Nutritrumps. They were talking it up in the booth. I've got a dog. I assume you're a dog lover?
Yeah, I got a dog. My dog's named Ricky. This is actually where he got his name, was from Talladega Nights. So he's here this weekend. I'm actually about to go pass out free dog samples right now. So we'll definitely be out there. And, yeah, you need to come get a treat. I got some in the trailer.
For sure. We'll let you get to that. That's Chase Briscoe. He's going to be passing out some Nutritrumps in the Talladega infield. We're going to swing over to Dylan Welch. He's alongside another Ford driver in the Xfinity Series, Austin Cindric.
Yeah, all the way across the garage here at Austin Cindric. Do you have a dog?
Yeah, I got a dog. His name's Wallace. I've gotten some Nutritrumps for him from Chase, so he's definitely giving Wallace the hookup.
How's your race car? We just had one session, but what did you learn? What did you feel?
Yeah, the Moneyline Ford Mustang's pretty quick. I think it's a little better than what we brought to Daytona, and obviously we would have got top 5 out of that race, so we'll be able to come off momentum from a run like that, and hopefully be able to apply it here at the Moneyline 300.
You're coming off tying your career best finish of second at Richmond last weekend. What do you feel like the kind of the status of the team is right now as you guys get set to come in here this weekend?
I think we're solid and consistent, and for as early in the season, I think that's where we need to be. Obviously, we want race-winning speed, and I want to be able to go out and win races. And honestly, you got to be at that point in playoff time. So I think there's definitely some more for us to learn. I think, especially on the downforce tracks. But as far as the short tracks go, that's been a strength of ours for sure. And just trying to build up to, like I said, being able to be winning race in, race out. Your
Penske teammates on the Cup side, and Brad Keselowski, and we're getting to hurry up here from Briscoe. What's your hurry? Oh, he's got to go pass out dog treats and stuff. I'll make this the last one then. Your Penske teammates, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, obviously really good here. Have you leaned on them at all, just as far as tips for kind of getting around here?
Yeah, no doubt. Those guys are the best when it comes to this kind of racing, and obviously Penske on the Cup side has been really strong on super speedway. So definitely lean on those guys a little bit for what to do and what not to do. And but I think the biggest thing is applying it in the right moment, and that's up to me.
He's got some momentum from his second place finish last weekend. Going to try and carry that over this weekend at Talladega.
All right, thank you very much, Dylan. We're just watching the clock just kind of tick away and letting Kim and Dylan just do the work down in the garage. You're getting an opportunity to hear from just a number of people that are outside the race car, not taking advantage of the final practice for the Xfinity Series. So again, clock winding down, 7:45 left. Then we're going to see the red and black flags fly. We'll take a break and come back with final practice for the Cup Series, and you'll hear it right here on the Motor Racing Network. From Talladega Superspeedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
What's up? Vaughn Gittin Jr. here. How would you like the keys to a 700 horsepower custom-built Ford Mustang RTR designed by none other than NASCAR champ Joey Logano, the RTR design team, and me? It's one of 3 Mustangs you could win in the Moneyline Here We Roar sweepstakes. How do you enter? Just text ROAR to 95615 or visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
No purchase necessary. Instant 2019. Must be 18 or older. For official sweepstake rules, visit roarsweepstakes.moneylion.com.
Are you ready?
To help children forget about their serious medical conditions so they can just be a kid. Then support Victory Junction, which is the dream of late race driver Adam Petty, who wanted to build a camp where children concentrate on fun and laughter, not illness or disability. At Victory Junction, kids enjoy ziplining, horseback riding, swimming, fishing, all in a medically safe environment, all at no cost to the camper. What do you say, Richard Petty?
Let's do this.
Learn more at victoryjunction.org.
You're listening to NASCAR Xfinity Series Practice from Talladega Superspeedway.
Not a very busy Talladega Superspeedway, at least not right now, and I doubt it's going to get that way before we see the red and black flags come out. Chad Fincham is on the racetrack right now. Also Joey Gase. That's about it. Kim, what's everybody doing in the garage? I'm guessing most are buttoned up and ready to go for tomorrow.
Yeah, most are, but there's a whole lot of nothing happening down at the garage. You don't hear really any engines roaring. Drivers are in their street clothes. In fact, Michael Annett just walked by in jeans and a T-shirt. I was going to grab him, and he said, no, interview my crew chief. That would be Travis Mack, the guy that led Michael Annett to a win in Daytona. So I got to ask you, you guys had a winning car in Daytona. How similar is the setup here for Talladega?
It's very similar. It's the same car, same setup. Really just took the car. It was such good shape. We just wiped the Gatorade off of it and made it a little better and brought it back here.
What did that win do for the team?
Locked us into the playoffs and really gave us a boost of confidence to make it through the rest of this year. And we're real excited to come back here to Talladega. We feel like we're the car to beat, and I think the garage feels the same way.
Whenever we come to super speedways, the talk is always about junior motorsports, JRM. You guys have your super speedway program locked in. Why is that? What kind of things are you guys working on in the shop that always brings cars to these tracks that are so good?
I think it trickles down from the Hendrick Motorsports side. That's our alliance with those guys, and they give us a really good engine to come to these speedway races, and just the expertise they have at qualifying at these big places. And we kind of, since I came from there, I was able to bring a lot of that with me over here to G Motorsports, and everybody over here at G Motorsports is, each of our crew chiefs have been at Hendrick, so we all know what to do and to build speed in these cars.
Tomorrow, when you're on top of the pit box for the Moneyline 300, what's it like as a crew chief at a place like Talladega? Because really, outside of setting up the cars, it's out of your hands, knowing that there could be the big one on the horizon. Talk about the challenges and the nerves compared to other tracks.
It's definitely nerve-wracking, but, it kind of is what it is. Once you get it through tech and qualify, it's in the driver's hands after that. What happens, happens. So as long as we have a fast car, I'll be proud of the guys in this team, and we'll try to stay up front, stay out of the wreck.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
We're going to let Travis get back to his team. Appreciate his time. He was a little timid on getting on the mic. He said, no, you need to interview Michael Annett, but we talked to Michael during first practice. So we like to give a little love to the crew chiefs. We're going to give some more love to crew chiefs. Looks like Dylan Welch has caught up with another guy that sits atop the pit box.
And it's another Junior Motorsports crew chief, Jason Burdett, crew chief for Justin Allgaier. So we were talking a little bit ago just about kind of the philosophy as a crew chief of what you can do, because this place isn't really so much focused on handling. You're just looking for speed. So as a crew chief, how do you get more speed out of the race car?
Well, it's gotten harder over the years. Obviously now with the flange fit bodies and the new scanning body template thing, it's gotten a lot harder to find little bits of speed. But we still try to work on our attitude and our the front up and down a little bit, and the back, trying to get the back down as far as we can, and little stuff to do all that. But it's tough. It's tough to come to one of these places and utilize all the practice that they give you and not put a bunch of laps on for no reason.
The last couple weekends for you guys have been up and down, and then you get to Richmond, you get a third place finish there, having some momentum on your side, a good solid run that you guys rebounded from some adversity during. What kind of confidence does that give you coming into here?
Yeah, you can't really have confidence coming to here maybe, but all year long we've had good speed, and there's been a few weeks like Bristol and a couple other places maybe that we had good enough speed to capitalize and take a win. Richmond, I felt like we had a really good car the first 2/3 of the race, and then the 0-0 seemed to get better as the night went on, where we just kind of stayed the same and we couldn't get our car a whole lot better. So maybe we run second, maybe we run third, but we got the most out of the night that we were going to get, I think, which we've struggled to do this year. So for that finish third, finish kind of where we deserve to finish, it does give us a little momentum. Come in here, hopefully we can just have a solid day, give ourselves an opportunity at the end of the race, and go on to Dover, a place that we really look forward to going every time, and Justin has a good feel for that racetrack, and hopefully we can go there and get another solid top 2 or 3 finish.
What's the toughest part about calling a race here as a crew chief?
Really here is just making sure you get yourself to the front for that last pit cycle. I mean that's the hard part is timing out. I think last year here, we pitted like a lap maybe or 2 right before we could make it on fuel, and we were one of the few guys that pitted then. And then everybody had to pit under green, and we cycled around with like a 50-second lead, when the caution come out with 8 or 9 to go. But, so if you can time it just right and be at the front for the last few restarts, it gives you an opportunity to maybe stay ahead of the crashes, or at least give you an opportunity to get a win.
That's Jason Burdett, crew chief for Justin Allgaier. They're going after win number 1 this year tomorrow at Talladega.
And those are the thoughts from the NASCAR Xfinity Series garage as we are getting ready to see the black and red flags fly, indicating that this will conclude this practice session. Thanks again for joining us on NASCAR.com and on MRN.com for all of today's practice session coverage. Track activity continues live on FS1 and MRN with Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice. That will be final practice at 4:30 Eastern. And then all broadcasting coverage from Talladega concludes on FS1 with the cars and stars of the ARCA Menard Series as they race in the General Tire 200 at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight.
Follow everything at MRN.com. MRN.com. We are down to, well, nothing. Red and black flags are flying right now at the start-finish line. Top 5, Ryan Sieg, the quickest over Ross Chastain, John Hunter Nemechek, Josh Williams, and Timmy Hill.
Running in 6th, or competing in 6th in this practice, was Alex LeBay. Also, B.J. McLeod was 7th, Brandon Brown 8th. Joey Gase was 9th, Jeremy Clements 10th, Max Tolman was 11th, Garrett Smithley was 12th, and Chad Fincham in the 13th and final position. Only 13 cars going on the racetrack for this final practice session.
But again, Mike, you had made the comment much earlier, a bit to be expected. If the car's good, buttoned up, don't even roll it out of the garage. These guys are ready to go ready to go tomorrow, and it's always a good one. What do you expect to see here, Mike?
Well, first of all, the heavy lifting was done in first practice. Nobody wants to wrinkle up the race car for second practice. Everybody has all that they need to know. Everybody has all the information. They're going to button the cars up. We're going to come back tomorrow. They're going to be qualified, then impounded, then we'll race. I really expect a great race tomorrow. I'm curious to see if Michael Annett can reproduce the successes of the last time we were on a track like this down in Daytona. But then you also have a lot of guys like, those that are trying to break into victory lane for the first time. Austin Cindric. You've also got drivers like Chase Briscoe, John Hunter Nemechek, drivers like that. But then you also have the Cole Custer Christopher Bell freight train. They both have won 2 apiece, and they come into the race tomorrow looking to add a 3rd to their winning resume for 2019. So will it be the Custer Bell show like it's been so far this year, or will we see perhaps maybe a brand new winner break into Gatorade victory lane at day's end of tomorrow's Moneyline 300?
Broadcast time 12:30 tomorrow Eastern, 12:30 Eastern, right here on the Motor Racing Network. That's going to take care of Xfinity Series practice, but again, we are not done yet. A big thank you to the 2 working downstairs in the garage. They were busy, and that was Dylan Welch and Kim Kuhn alongside Mike Bagley. My name is Jeff Striegel. We're going to take a 1-hour break. Then we're going to come back with final practice for the Cup Series cars here on this Friday afternoon. 4:30 Eastern, Motor Racing Network will continue with live coverage from the Talladega Superspeedway.
Motor Racing Network's coverage of NASCAR practice has come to you from Talladega Superspeedway. Today's broadcast was brought to you under an exclusive radio license granted by Talladega Superspeedway to the Motor Racing Network, solely for the private non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any use of the description and accounts of this event without the express written consent of the Motor Racing Network is prohibited. Follow all the NASCAR action at MRN.com. This has been a production of the Motor Racing Network.